Hi, I'm Nandu Avatramani. I'm a growth coach and a business advisor to restaurant owners and groups here in New York City. And I'm also the founder of F&B Business School, which is an online school that shows you unique proven business methods that have been used by restaurants to scale profitably, increase revenues, stop employee turnover, improve employee retention, and increase profits consistently. So go check out F&B Business School after this video. We're going to jump right in. How to negotiate with your landlords to lower your rent. Time is tough right now. Currently, with the coronavirus, everyone's really panicking as to can we pay our rents and can we even sustain paying these rents going forward. So I'm going to share with you a technique today that you can use to lower your rents over a long period of time. So I learned this particular technique in 2005 to 2010 when I owned my chain of restaurants that I recently sold. And at that particular period of time, the situation was opposite. There weren't enough good properties to rent because the demand was so high. But the problem was the same, which is the rent skyrocketed and it was unaffordable for any restaurant to really afford rents, similar to right now. So, taking a learning from that time, I'm going to share with you a specific technique that you can use to lower your rent. Remember, it's about sustainability for the long term, not just about getting rent free for 1 month, which I hope you do. So, we had to think out of the box. Currently, in the United States, the situation is pretty bad. Cheesecake Factory saying it's going to stop paying rent. Subway said it's going to slash or postpone paying rent for over 2,000 stores. And McDonald's, which owns 95% of its franchisees' real estate, said it's going to defer rent. Now, all of this may sound like bad news, but it's actually really good news for restaurant owners who own between 1 to 15 to 20 locations. Because the more there's a hue and cry, the more the media starts shouting about issues in the restaurant business and rent, it's going to help you negotiate. The New York State Restaurant Association is also working, and they put working for the restaurant owner and has drafted a memo to support a bill to hopefully pardon rent for 90 days for restaurant owners. And let's see if that goes through. Internationally, in Singapore, 350 restaurateurs got together and slashed their rents by 50%. And in Hong Kong, too, over 200 restaurateurs did that. So there is some hope we can do that right here in the States. Unfortunately, no rental rebates for them either. Now, the problem of reducing rent is a very big problem, and it may take time to solve it. But the crucial piece to starting and finding a solution is the landlord and the landlord's willingness to help you. So in the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to make your landlord be willing to listen to you. Come with an open mind and say, okay, that may just work. All right. Unfortunately, again, no government rebates. So let's hope this works. Think about if you were a landlord. Are you really thinking about the person that you rented the property to? Or are you thinking about yourself? The truth is, the landlord's thinking about himself. He's thinking about the loans that he's taken to buy the property that he has to pay the bank. And if he doesn't charge you rent, how is he going to pay the bank? And is the bank going to take the property back from him? So he's worried too. So go with a compassionate mindset when you talk to your landlord that he's got problems too. But think, the landlord's thinking about his or her income and cost. Can you find a solution over there? Maybe they'll be open. Currently, the first thing you need to do is ask your landlord in a really nice way. We're having a tough time. We have no revenues or marginal revenues through delivery. Can you please delay our rent and allow us to pay it later? Or can you forgive our rent? Now, by the time I've recorded this video, I have spoken to a few restaurant owners and some landlords have actually said, okay, don't pay us rent. So it is possible. Take inspiration from that it is possible. Try it. Or the third thing you can ask your landlord is, can you charge us a smaller sum and not the full rent? Because you can see that our restaurants are shut. Now, what I'm about to show you is to solve a bigger, larger problem, which is the sustainability of our revenue model, the sustainability of our cost model. No longer will restaurants be able to afford these skyrocketing rents, because revenues will take time to go back up to the levels they were last year. It's going to take a year to go back there. So is there a way that you can sustainably reach a solution with your landlord that works for your restaurant? And that's what I want to focus on today. So the landlord is going to be willing to talk to you and agree to certain terms only if the landlord sees an upside to lowering your rent. How How do you show your landlord an upside to lowering your rent? By telling him that as my restaurant revenues increase, I may be able to give you more rental income. You see that? If your revenues increase, you may be able to contribute more rental income. And there's a way to do this. And it's called entering a revenue sharing model with a minimum guarantee. So for example, it's pretty simple. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to speak a bit slower. The revenue sharing model with a minimum guarantee is as simple as this. Let's say that your current month rent is $20,000. So instead of paying $20,000 to your landlord, you tell your landlord, I'm going to pay you $15,000 as a guarantee no matter what happens to my, regardless of what my revenues are like. Or I'm going to pay you 10% of my gross revenue, whichever is higher. So in the months that your gross revenue goes up, and 10% is higher than 15,000 or even 20,000, the landlord earns more. Let's say that you're starting a new business right now and your revenues are only going to go higher, the landlord's got a really good upside. Let's say that you're a well-known restaurant. It'll be easy for you to convince your landlord that as your revenues go higher, you will be able to pay higher. So even if you're doing average, it's still okay as long as you can show your landlord a simple plan as to what are you going to be doing to increase your revenues, and you're confident you're going to make it happen, and as it grows, his income grows with you too. Make your landlord see the upside. If not right now, then soon, but keep at it. So how do you do this? How do you negotiate, right? You have and share your financial projections for the next 3 years. You got to go to the landlord like you're going to the bank. This is what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 years. This is how much I'm going to be earning for the next 3 years in revenue. And therefore, I'll be able to give you a minimum rental guarantee of X amount of dollars every month, or a revenue share of this percentage, whichever is higher. And here's the deal maker. You tell the landlord that he can come and check your point of sale system and the revenue figures at any time in the damn day. He can walk in and do it. Or what I used to do was I'd program my point of sale to send my landlord a revenue report for that day at 11 p.m. when we closed in the night automatically. What this does is creates transparency, and that transparency creates trust between the landlord and you, so he knows that you're not going to cheat him out of any money, and he can walk in and see the revenue figures. You can even give him his own login and only show him the revenue figures in your point of sale system. So once again, this method and technique work wonderfully. I used it across restaurants, across concepts, and the whole idea was about sustainability, because in the months that weren't really good, we were able to pay just the minimum guarantee. And in the months that we did really well, the landlord got an upside. And why not? So let's look at a visual of what this looks like. You see that red line right here? This is the minimum guarantee. If your rent is 20,000, let's say you guarantee your landlord of 15,000 over 5 years, you're going to pay him 15,000 per month as a minimum guarantee no matter what happens. Then you say that, and this is the 20,000 right here. This is what you're currently paying. But then you tell him, look, as the years go by and my revenue goes up, I'll give you 10% of gross revenues. And you see this upside? That's how much the landlord makes more than he would have ever made before. This is the upside you need to show him. So there's another way you can do this if you want to make it a little more enticing, but it's a little more complicated, and it's called a tier-based revenue share agreement. That means you not only pay him a minimum guarantee of, let's say, 15,000, but you raise that year by year, as well as you raise your percentage of revenues, gross revenues, year by year. I wouldn't recommend you to do this unless you're really, really confident about your concept or you have a proven business model for the last 20 years. So if I were you, I would still stick to the first revenue sharing model that I shared, but keep this in mind, this is an option too. Remember, the media is going to blow the story up. Restaurants are suffering really badly, and the media is going to blow it up. And when the media blows up, don't panic. It's good news for you, because when that happens, you know that every landlord's reading that newspaper or listening to it on TV, and they'll know that it's a big problem, and they'll be more open-minded to listening to you. So what do you do first? Don't wait for your landlord to reach out to you and say, hey, where's my rent? You aren't paying me my rent. Be proactive. Go to your landlord before they reach out to you. 2, start a conversation. Be compassionate, supportive, and flexible because they got issues too. So think for them first, then think for yourself, and you will find a solution. So thank you very much. Hope this technique will work for you like it's worked for thousands of restaurant owners on the other side of the world. It's going to come to New York and other cities. It will work. Just follow what I have said and it will work. I'm Nandu Avitramani. I'm a growth coach and a business advisor to ambitious restaurant owners and groups in the United States. Check out my online business school for restaurant owners called fnbbusinessschool.com for a lot more techniques. And I am offering at this time a free growth coaching session to help you organize your thoughts and your plans going forward. Here's my email at the bottom. And don't forget to click below this video to subscribe to proven solutions to increase revenues, increase profits, and improve employee retention. Till the next time, see ya.